Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, even though it does feel like Wuthering Waves 3.5 has been in a bit of a lull, you can probably imagine that with, most of the stuff kind of being in the first half of the update. Well, there's a second half to this patch. And the second half of that patch is actually going to be leading us to the next new Resonator arriving. And that is, of course, going to be Suisui. We've done a full kit review of everything that she has to offer, but there's another question that you probably need to answer if you're looking to pull this unit. Is her weapon worth it? And that's the question we're going to be answering today, because weapons are kind of expensive in this game. You want to know whether or not they're going to be, actually good value, a good pull for your account, whether or not you can use it on different characters, or whether or not they truly change enough to be that must pull. So we're going to be answering all those questions today. We've got all the information good to go, but don't worry, even if you don't need it, well, there's still a lot of reasons to pull this unit anyways. So let's go ahead, get right on into it. And if you're saving up for some of the upcoming banners, you've got to check out Enjoy GM. It's a top-up platform that gives you some of the best prices on in-game currency, especially for Wuthering Waves, with discounts up to 20% off. New users get 8% off site-wide that's stacked with member deals, 6480 plus 1600 Lunites for just $75. Note, discounts may vary by the region. The process is super simple. Just your UID and server and your Lunites will arrive in minutes. They also have 24/7 customer support and work with tons of global payment methods, so it's fast and convenient. Plus, Enjoy GM is certified with PCI DSS security standards and has received consistently high ratings on Trustpilot, a platform you can trust completely. I've tested it myself. It's safe, legit, and saves you real money. If you want to stock up on your Lunites before the banners drop, click the link in the description below or the pinned comment and start saving with Enjoy GM today. So first things first, what we got to be taking a look at when it comes to this weapon is its base stats, because Suisui is a unique type of character. And that unique type of character is essentially one that wants about 250% ER in their kit. So you can probably see why having a weapon that has 77% ER built into it is very, 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 very good. And so this is the situation over here. Suisui has some elements, basically the main buff in her kit, her ability to scale attack as well as a broad damage increase. They require her to have an ER, well, 50% above 250% ER. So that's going to be existing here for her 12% damage increase, and then also here for her 50% damage increase, and then it's also going to show up, God forbid, in another spot. And this is... If you haven't gotten the message yet, the character really needs a certain amount of ER. Okay, why is this team taking 20 minutes to deploy? Bro, that didn't even work. What the fuck? Another measure in her kit that really wants ER is, of course, going to be her Sonata set, because she shares one with Yang XL. A 0.1% increase to attack to every resident of the team for every 1% ER that they have up to 25. That's 250 as well. So, oh, sorry for showing the better support. Having a weapon that gives you 77% is going to be really good for that. But this is also the other thing. There's a good probability, ladies and gentlemen, you don't actually need her weapon to reach that mark. Because what is a popular support weapon that exists in this game? It's called Variation, ladies and gentlemen, and Variation essentially gives you about 26% less ER, but you'll notice over here, it's got that really beneficial effect of speeding up your rotation by giving you additional concerto energy. And well, to fully cap the loop on this situation, right, we're gonna have to take a look at this weapon's effect. Because the real conversation everybody should be having is this weapon worth it over Variation? Because essentially the base stats are very similar. You could still get 250% ER easy on this weapon for Suisui. I think I've even got like everything sort of like, oh, it's Boolings. Yeah, I've been utilizing somebody's like dead body as like a way to estimate, right, how much ER I'm gonna have. And there we go, right? I just stick on my Variation. Boom, I'm at 263. I could actually lose one. Yeah, I could, I'm at 263%. Yeah, I've already got the build ready to go. And that's with having an ER3 cost over here, crit damage and ER over there, like ER there, ER, and ER. So we're like over, right? We're over already. And that's how easy she is to build, even without her signature. Oh, you need 260, not 250, so it's perfect? Okay, great. So, like, you can get to 260 missing an ER roll. Awesome, isn't it? So, that's just how simple she is to build, and you're probably noticing a similar trend over here. Man, Saint really seems to be making this argument to not pull her weapon. Well, guys, think about it this way. An argument not to pull this character's weapon is also an argument to pull the character. Because if you know a character is basically just as good without their signature on a 4-star weapon, doesn't that make the argument to pull for them in the first place and just get the character? Doesn't that make it more convincing? Knowing that they're going to be amazing on a regular 4-star weapon that you probably already have R5 on your account, and so you don't need to spend even close to the number of resources you would for other units? Well, that's what I think, right? And so you can view it as this. Even though we're kind of shitting on Suisui's signature, we are complimenting the character a lot. And so don't worry. We'll still, Kuro's still going to get their revenue one way or another. To fully round out how little Suisui actually needs her weapon, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at what it actually does. So, it's going to increase your max HP by 12%, which is like a substat, and this is the real kicker. Casting Resonance Liberation restores 8 points, up to 16 with more refinements, triggered once every 20 seconds. So, at a baseline, you're probably going to have an R5 variation at this point, maybe R4. That gives double the amount of Concerto of her R1 weapon. So, she will have faster rotations with the 4-star weapon. That's basically what this is telling you over here. And Mornier has a very similar dynamic where Mornier straight up has way faster rotations if she uses an R5 Discord instead of her actual signature. I'm not joking. Mornier with an R5 Discord is like unironically better than her with her R1 Sig, because her rotations are meaningfully faster and it results in a team DPS increase even if you don't have the buffs or maybe the extra ER over here. And that's the effect, guys, of simply having a good 4-star option like this. Because, well, you read the rest of it, right? Inflicting Glacial Chafe grants Snow Taint for 6 seconds, and applying Healing grants Ripples. And if the wielder has both, Suisui is basically the only character that can heal and apply Glacial Chafe at the same time, the attack of all nearby resonators is increased by 20% or 2 substats. So, like, you have 1 HP substat here, 2 attack substats to your DPS here, less Concerto, and then basically 2.5 useless ER subs here. Essentially, this weapon lets you skip substats on your Suisui and substats on your DPS. And all it does is it makes up for 2 attack rolls, 2 ER roll, 2.5 ER rolls, and 1 HP roll. That's a lot to spend for stuff this minor. Truly, that's a lot of resources to spend on something that feels like this inconsequential overall, right, to your DPS. Is that fair to say? This is basically Kuro Games telling you, don't pull this, but make sure you pull the character. And we should be happy for this, right? Because them making a giga-fucking-weak support signature, like how all support sigs in this game have been giga-weak, like Shorekeepers, like Mornier's, guys, that simply just lowers the ceiling of S0R1 teams, and that simply just ensures that, like, power creep is also maintained relatively well. Because if this weapon gave, like, 40% attack, then now suddenly it's a must-pull, because it's the same as Shorekeeper's S2 then, right? And that's a massive damage increase relative to what you're spending. And when the damage increase here is so small and you lose on like the quality of life on the rotation side, you're actively incentivized to skip this thing. But in the same vein, you're incentivized to skip this thing, but you're also incentivized to pull her. Because what can you do in this game? Oh, right. Some people have 17 million copies of variation like me. And they can afford to swap them around in their team setups and stuff like that. And I would dare say it's just like this. Like, maybe you consider pulling 1 sig at a certain point if you need to play all your supports, and you don't have enough variations by now to cover, I don't know, 3 different supports? Because right now I got 1 for Verena, 1 for SK, and then, of course, I got another one for Suisui over here. My Verena could probably use a regular level 1 one, right? But don't worry, you don't need R5 variations. You could have like 3 R4 ones, and it's basically the same fucking thing too. But that's where it's at right now, guys. And chances are, you're going to have a way to gear out your Suisui, and you're going to be able to do it on like the craziest, lowest budget options available. And that's a pretty good case, right? That's a pretty solid case to pull a unit. You already have a weapon that's best in slot for them. That doesn't happen very often in this game. There's almost never really a situation, ladies and gentlemen. There's never really a situation where you go in and you're like, oh, wow, I don't need to pull a weapon for this DPS character. Oh, wow, I don't need to pull something for this sub-DPS character. But supports, on the other hand, they're a way better value deal. And you're seeing it right here. Now, though, you probably have some other questions, right? Just in case. Is there any situation where Suisui can use maybe other support weapons that are in the game, right? Like I know a lot of people have been asking this one. Well, this looks almost the same as Shorekeeper Sig. Can't you just use Shorekeeper Sig if you have it on Suisui? Because that's another place where reuse seems pretty good, right? Reuse seems pretty solid. Let's read what Stellar Symphony actually does. So, same HP increasing, same concerto as well. However, when casting a resident skill that heals, increases nearby party members' attack by 14%. So it's actually slightly worse than Suisui's, but it's functionally almost the same. However, you need a heal on your resident skill. So let's see if Suisui heals on her resident skills, ladies and gentlemen. Restore Cloud Breath. Press resident skill to thrust forward and deal damage. Press resident skill to pull in targets and deal damage. Casting Awakening Springer Intro Skill grants all nearby resonators 1 stack of enrichment. This only, however, this is a buff, and I don't think this counts as her resident skill. I think this counts as a separate buff. And then this one over here doesn't look like it heals. So essentially what I'm saying is this. I don't think Suisui can actually heal on her resident skill, and so the end result sort of is you can't use SK Sig to activate the healing buff in this kit. However, I mean, as the stats stick alone, HP 12% and 8% concerto energy, it's not bad, right? It's basically just Suisui Sig without the 20% attack buff. So, like, functionally, you can use this as well. But there's going to be really nothing else on the roster you're going to want to use, right? She wants ER, and, like, what gives ER on the fucking roster? Yeah, it's like variation. Like, I guess... Like, sure. Like, you want to use Rectifier number 25? Go for it. Hey, yeah, go for Rectifier number 25, bro. I don't give a fuck. But just, like, 99% of people, I'm just going to recommend you use this thing. Even if it's R1, just use this thing, bro. Like, it's just truly, like what? Rectifier, this gets 32% ER, bro. Like, you truly only have, like, bro, it's Rectifier number 25 or variation. Like, those are your options. Just go, like, one's obviously dog shit and the other's way better. Those are your choices. And when chances are you have either prioritized variation on the weapon banner by pulling on weapon banners that have it, or you're a day one player that has at least a copy or two, you can go for it. Oh, and I guess there's also, like, this goofy-ass free one. Yeah, there's also this goofy-ass free one, too, but, like, bro, I don't even know how you get this thing. I think you got to do a quest. I don't know what the fucking quest is. You wanna know why I never did it? Because I had variations. So I was like, why the fuck would I waste my time doing the quest to get this thing? So, yeah, that's an option as well. Yeah, there's a quest in Ridacina you could use to get this. But, like, if you have this, you're never making this. Like you're never making this if you already have this on your account. Like, I question anybody that got this shit, right? I question anybody that got that shit if they already had this one. Or at least built it. If you have it level 1, then you just did the quest. If you built that shit while having variation, I don't know what you're doing. You're probably on crack cocaine, bro. Maybe you put that on your S2 Verita because she doesn't need variation. I don't know, bro. It is what it is. Basically, our summary of this weapon is very simple. It's just like a Mornier weapon. It's just like a Shorekeeper Sig. And those characters are some of the least signature-reliant units in the game. And the only times you want to pull a weapon like this is if you're truly trying to, like, min-max the fuck out of your teams. And that 20% additional attack, right? The extra substats you get on your support make the expenditure worth it. But that's such a small subsection of players when truly none of these units are... Like these give such a small amount of team DPS increases for the relative cost. It's just better to save those resources to pull any other signature in the... I'm not even like fucking joking. You should be saving those resources for this person's sig. Or this person's sig. Not this person's sig, though, because they don't need it. And truly, my opinion is this. Anyone that kind of like owns support sigs like this to me is almost like the true side of a whale. Because it takes, I think, like a whale mindset to even want to pull a weapon like this, knowing how little it gives you in exchange for the resources you're spending. That's what it feels like. Like, this is the true side of a whale, is if they have something like this. And so, if you're not really looking to push the boundaries of your account or your characters in that way, just skip this thing. But don't skip any spending or any resource usage. Pull this character, as long as you can really utilize her, because she's probably going to be a best in slot for the Sentinel. Pull this unit, and then just leave it at that. Because she's really good without her weapon. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.